Loch Ness Monster is a mythical animal that allegedly lives in Loch Ness, a large freshwater lake near Inverness, Scotland. Although accounts of an aquatic beast living in the lake date back 1,500 years, all efforts to find any credible evidence of the animal have failed. That hasn't dampened the public's enthusiasm, however, for any news about Nessie. Loch Ness, located in the Scottish Highlands, has the largest volume of fresh water in Great Britain. The body of water reaches a depth of nearly 800 feet and a length of about 23 miles. Scholars of the Loch Ness Monster find a dozen references to Nessie in Scottish history, dating back to around 500 AD, when local Picts carved a strange aquatic creature into standing stones near Loch Ness.
For more than 100 years, people have claimed sighting the Loch Ness Monster swimming on the surface of this lake in northern Scotland. Despite several scientific expeditions to find the monster, it remains a legend, locked somewhere in the depths of the loch. The latest group looking for the monster is a collection of 150 British academics, technicians, and volunteers. Privately funded, the Loch Ness and Morar project spent 4 months this past summer taking sonar readings of the lake. 1,500 hours were spent searching the lake with 2 different types of sonar. The group made contact 40 times with something that had all the characteristics of a large, moving animal. The contacts were made at depths where normal fish don't live and where air-breathing mammals couldn't survive. This is the most interesting sighting. Made on August 23rd, at 86 meters below the surface, it shows 2 large objects moving independently of each other.
If these contacts are animals, then these are probably Loch Ness monsters. And if they are not, then there are no Loch Ness monsters in the deep midwaters of Loch Ness.
The earliest written reference to a monster in Loch Ness is a 7th century biography of Saint Columba, the Irish missionary who introduced Christianity to Scotland. In 1933, a new road was completed along Loch Ness's shore, affording drivers a clear view of the loch. And on May 2nd, 1933, the Inverness Courier reported that a local couple claimed to have seen an enormous animal rolling and plunging on the surface. The story of the Loch Ness Monster became a media phenomenon, with London newspapers sending correspondents to Scotland, and a circus offering a £20,000 reward for capture of the beast. After the 1933 sighting, interest steadily grew, especially after another couple claimed to have seen the beast on land, crossing the shore road. After British newspapers sent reporters to Scotland, including London's Daily Mail, which hired big game hunter Marmaduke Wetherell to capture the beast. After a few days of searching the loch, Wetherell reported finding footprints of a large 4-legged animal. In response, the Daily Mail carried the dramatic headline, "Monster of Loch Ness is not legend, but a fact." Scores of tourists descended on Loch Ness and sat in boats or deck chairs waiting for an appearance by the beast. Plaster casts of the footprints were sent to the British Natural History Museum, which reported that the tracks were that of a hippopotamus, specifically one hippopotamus foot, probably stuffed. The hoax temporarily deflated Loch Ness Monster mania, but stories of sightings continued. A famous 1934 photograph seemed to show a dinosaur-like creature with a long neck emerging out of the murky waters, leading some to speculate that Nessie was a solitary survivor of the long-extinct plesiosaurs. The aquatic plesiosaurs were thought to have died off with the rest of the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. Loch Ness was frozen solid during recent ice ages, however, so this creature would have had to have made its way up the River Ness from the sea in the past 10,000 years. And the plesiosaurs, believed to be cold-blooded, would not long survive in the frigid waters of Loch Ness. Amateur investigators kept an almost constant vigil, and in the 1960s, several British universities launched expeditions to Loch Ness, using sonar to search the deep. Nothing conclusive was found, but in each expedition, the sonar operators detected large, moving underwater objects they could not explain.
The Loch Ness Monster has been found. Well, missing parts of its movie replica from 50 years ago have been found. Nessie hunters found a monster while scouring the mysterious Scottish lake, but not of the kind they were looking for. A high-tech sonar robot that was scanning the water and looking for the long-sought-after monster just found its replica sunk at the bottom of the lake. It may not be the mythical star of the Loch Ness that has intrigued so many, but it's certainly a star of the silver screen in its own right. The 30-foot-long model is thought to have got there when it was disposed of after the film The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes finished shooting in 1969. Just when scientists thought they'd solved the riddle of the Loch Ness Monster, it seems that Nessie remains uncaught. The legend generates around £60 million to the Scottish economy each year, attracting hundreds of thousands of visitors to the famous loch, all hoping to catch a glimpse of the elusive creature. But for now, Nessie can continue on in peace.
In 1975, Boston's Academy of Applied Science combined sonar and underwater photography in an expedition to Loch Ness. A photo resulted that, after enhancement, appeared to show the giant flipper of a plesiosaur-like creature. Further sonar expeditions in the 1980s and 1990s resulted in more tantalizing, if not conclusive, readings. Revelations in 1994 that the famous 1934 photo was a hoax hardly dampened the enthusiasm of tourists and professional and amateur investigators to the legend of the Loch Ness Monster. Will Nessie ever allow herself to be captured on film? Only time will tell. But as always, one person's insanity is another person's normal. It's up to you to decide which is yours.